What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Brandon from Team Intricate Gaming here. Today I'm here to show you guys my undefeated deck profile from this past weekend over at my locals. I went 4-0. Round 1 was a bye. Round 2 was against Sword Soul. Round 3 was against the Mirror. And round 4 was also against the Mirror. So after all the whole event, I managed to come out on top and get first, and this is what I took. It is Branded Despia. This was my first time playing with the deck since we were proxying it initially, and this was prior to all the other changes and all the different builds that we went through and we tested out. And this is the list that at least I've landed on with the card pool that I have. And definitely huge shout out to Ghost from the Past for reprinting Albert, because that just made it more accessible to anybody that really wanted to play the deck. But with Albert going down, a lot of the other cards went up, like Branded Openings and Masquerade, but those were to be expected. Should have definitely picked those up when I had the chance earlier, when they were just like dollars instead of 20s and 10s and all that here and there. But nonetheless, it's the list I took. Took a lot of inspiration from other lists like Andreas' Taurus lists, but this is what I settled on. So we have your 3 Albert, Jester Despia. Pretty standard card. Some lists run 2, other lists run 3. I figured on 3 and it was just fine with me. 2 Tragedy, which is also fairly standard from what I've seen. Searches out a Despia monster from deck to hand when it's sent to the graveyard or banished. So you could use it off of Branded Opening, pitching it, and you're going +3 because you get the Branded Fusion, the target off of Despian Tragedy, and then whatever fusion monster you go into. Then you have the 1 Comedy, which the 1 Comedy serves as protection for your Despian monsters if they do get targeted. Then we have the 1 Dramaturge and 1 Ad Libitum, recurable 30k body, special summons out a fusion if it's used as a fusion material itself from hand. And it's also a debuff, but the debuff rarely ever came up. Actually, it didn't even come up for me at all this weekend. Then you run 2 of the Fallen Albaz. It's Fallen Albaz. You can run 1 if you really want to, but I don't trust myself to not ever misplay that I don't need to run more than 1. 2 Mercurier. Another way to stop cards that are monster effects that are targeting the Despia monster you control, or when they activate those effects while you have a fusion that lists Fallen of Albaz, you can discard the Mercurier to negate the effect. And then 1 Kit. Kit was phenomenal. If you control a fusion that lists Fallen of Albaz, you can special the Kit. Kit will get you a branded spell or trap that is banished or in the deck or in the graveyard, and then you place a card from your hand at the bottom. Still fantastic card. Albion, another name for Fallen of Albaz. Filter through cards if you need to, or just special 25 beater. Then our hand trap lineup was 3 Ash, which is fairly common. The best hand trap in the game has been the best hand trap for quite some time. Then you run the 1 Ghost Spell. I opted on 1 Ghost Spell because 1 Ghost Spell felt fine, and I wanted room to put in other cards for other attribute targets, like the 1 DD Crow for a dark target and the 1 Effect Veiler. If the DD Crow never came up, then we would pitch that off of Branded Fusion if we got late enough in the game that I needed a dark target. Then we run 2 Edge and Chain. 1 is just being proxied because I let my buddy borrow 1 for the case tournament that happened at some point today as well. I didn't decide to go, had too many adulting to do. And that is the monster lineup. So I think that's fairly standard. It felt fine to me. Deck ran fantastic. Onto the spells, you run the Broken Fusion spell, Branded Fusion. Nothing to really say about the fusion spell. It's ridiculous. You get restricted to summoning nothing but fusion monsters for or special summoning fusion monsters, but that's completely irrelevant. Branded Openings, which hurt me to purchase this weekend because they're $20 a piece, and I didn't have a good time. 2 Branded in red. You go ahead and you target a Despia monster that's in the graveyard or Fallen of Albaz, add it to hand, and then you can go ahead and banish material in your hand to fusion summon. You could usually go into the Guardian Chimera off of this to get pops on your opponent's turn or whatever else you want depending on the situation. The 1 Branded Loss, which is Magical Meltdown, and then also a Searcher for your branded, not your branded, your Fallen of Albaz or monsters that list Fallen of Albaz. Fantastic card. This is what won me one of my matches in the mirror because one list was playing it and the other one wasn't. Then you have the card I never saw at all. I didn't see this card once. Not once at all this weekend, so I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's super poly. It breaks boards. Fantastic in the mirror. Fantastic against Sword Soul if they put up boards. You can go into different cards from your extra deck. The one that I am going to be swapping over shortly is going to be into Mud Dragon, but you guys will see the extra deck. 2 poly, because we run the obvious Frifer engine. The Frifer engine is fantastic. It is just free pluses left and right, and the plays that you just make it's fantastic. 2 Chalice. I don't own droplets. I don't feel like buying droplets until that reprint hits. So Chalice works just fine. Fine going first. If you're going first, so that way you can set it and have a response to it. Going second, it's also okay to help you break boards. But then we go off to the 3 1 cells being foolish, to dump Tragedy or jump an engine chain if you need to. Called by because we lose to Ash and Gold Sark. Now, alternatively, my buddy's list runs crossout designated for that reason. So, like, you can run crossouts if you have them. I mean, if I get ashed, I get ashed. I hope I have some way to play around it. I already hard drew the branded fusion, or I have kit or anything like that. So that was the main. I think it's about 42, 43 cards as last I checked. But it runs fine. Didn't really run into any consistency issues during the tournament, but post-tournament, I was testing against Phantom Knight, and I just bricked like it was nobody's business. So, we'll go ahead and quickly get into the extra deck here. Your 2 Mirror Jade. Card's ridiculous. It's a Cook Effect Banish. That's a soft once per turn. And it's also Raigeki if it leaves the board. Optimally, if you're dealing with this card, you want to bounce it. Or not bounce. Yeah, you want to bounce it instead of like banishing it or sending it to the grave because it will trigger the end phase Raigeki effect. 2 Lebellion to go ahead and go into Mirror Jade as well. So that way you can go Lebellion, activate Lebellion effect to make the Mirror Jade, then Mirror Jade effect to send the next card, which is Albion, to get Branded in red, Branded opening, or any of your branded spells or traps. And then the Albion for that reason, or just another fusion monster that you can make that'll have that end phase effect to set a branded spell or trap if it does go to grave. That are I think anything that contains level 8 fusion target in the deck fusions. So stuff like if you have poly in your graveyard, boards, dependent maybe I'll know which board if I'm gonna have trouble getting over that if I'm not locked or anything. So still, it's a pretty decent card. Didn't come up as much as I wanted to, but when I needed it to, it did. The 1 Masquerade, because I don't own 2, but 2 can come up, especially in the Flunder matchup. If you do put 2 of these on board, you put Flunder on a very, very short clock, and usually they can't play out of it. 1 Starving Venom for a Super Poly target, and he wipes the board with the mirror. Like, he's good against heroes. Just a fantastic Super Poly target. Same thing with Dragos Depalia, which ends on being a Walking Veiler too. Like, if you open super optimally first turn, you can end on Dragos Depalia and Mirror Jade on board with a set Branded in red to go ahead and to make Guardian Chimera the following turn. The 1 Titanic Lad didn't come up this weekend. Still a good card. The 1 Moveman Ship didn't come up either, but if my opponent had a problematic monster that I couldn't get over, then this would come up in tandem with the Fallen of Albaz. And then the last card, the card that is probably going to get banned relatively shortly here, Verte Anaconda. If you end on awkward boards where you couldn't grab your fusion or anything, you let's say you branded opening into Aliber, and your Aliber got ashed, and you have no way to go into fusion. Normal summon something like an Edgem Chain or whatever, make Anaconda, and then go into branded fusion and try to set yourself up for the following turn. Once Verte inevitably gets banned, he's either going to become the Brigand Dragon or another Masquerade or a different Super Poly target, probably the Mud Dragon, but that'll happen when that happens. And then we'll go quickly over the sideboard. Triple Token Collector, because Sword Soul. Double Nibiru for people that extend and don't play around Nib. 3 evenly, because I don't like back row matchups. I used to play Eldritch, so no. 2 Twin, more back row. Banshee Zombie World combo for Flunder. 2-dimensional barrier for the mirror if I'm going first and I have myself set up. Or for Sword Soul, same general thing. Red Reboot for trap decks or anything that's trying to stop it when I'm going for that final push like Sword Soul if they try to black out. But that was the deck profile. Changes that I would probably make would only really be in the side for now, which you could change out the Evenlease for Lightning Storms. But that's neither here nor there. I think both are fantastic cards and both come up in their own situation. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Go ahead and leave a like. Let me know if there's any improvements you think that I can go ahead and make to the deck. And if so, also let me know if you'd like to see a more budget-friendly version for the deck. I don't think anything else was relatively expensive here besides the branded opening, but you do need those. Starting this Friday as well, we're going to be recording our locals and coming up with local vlogs. So stay tuned to that, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.